HTMi Switzerland. My name is Benjamin and today we are going to take a look at the vanilla old fashioned. When it comes to cocktails, for most people old fashioned is a bar standard, therefore we cannot miss this cocktail from our list. The cocktail's history leads us back to 1862 in US, when Jerry Thomas has released and published the world's first book on mixology. Starting from the 1880s in the USA, the cocktail did not need much time to travel the world and form into a whiskey-based pleasure that we all well know nowadays. However, there are many cocktail variations on old-fashioned that had been published since then, but today we are going to try to make a modern twist to it while staying as close to the original recipe as possible. To start off with, we are going to chill our glass by adding as much ice to it as possible. These are smaller ice cubes, so don't be afraid to fill our glass fully, and then we also need to give it a proper stir for a few seconds. Why is it important? We immediately would like to cool our glass down, but in the end we also need to remove all this ice because we will need the glass empty and chilled. As the next step, we are placing a cocktail napkin elegantly on top of the glass and adding a cube of sugar. With this method, continuously, we are adding 2 to 3 drops of Angostura bitter as well. Why is it really important that we placed our sugar cube and the Angostura bitter on top of the cocktail napkin? Well, first of all, the cocktail napkin absorbs all the unwanted amount of Angostura bitter, and it's also really nice technique in bitterness balancing when it comes to the cocktail. While we are only adding as much Angostura bitter to the cocktail as much the sugar cube itself is capable to absorb. As a next step, we are just dropping the sugar cube into our glass, and as our modern twist, we are also adding half a pod of vanilla to it, which is really important that we cut up previously. It's a key element. Why? Because then in this way, when we are modeling the cocktail later on, all the oils and the aroma will be able to extract from the vanilla pod itself. As a next step, based on size, we are also adding 2 to 4 pieces and slices of orange peels to the cocktail, and also don't forget to add an additional 1 centiliter from our bourbon whiskey. Why is it important? This will help us later on to muddle properly, and also will help the sugar cube itself to dissolve more easier. Don't be afraid to muddle it. The goal is that we really do not want to see the sugar cube itself, and also help the orange peels to extract all the citrusy aroma from its peels. As a next step, we are adding our ice to the drink. But I would really recommend you to try to experiment with different forms and shapes of ice. In this case, we are using a really nice and nicely shaped ice ball, which will give also an elegant look to our drink. Then, last but not least, we are adding our base spirit. It's a really smooth bourbon whiskey. This will allow us to still highlight the slight smokiness of the bourbon itself, but also will be able to present the aromas from both the citrusy contributor or orange peel and also the vanilla pod. Now, the last thing that's left is to stir the drink properly in order to mix all the flavor that's extracted throughout the procedure. Giving it a proper stir is important for around 12 to 15 seconds. And then our last thing, since we are already having a vanilla pod and nice orange peels inside, it is not really necessary to have an overcomplicated garnish to it. Therefore, we are only adding garnish in the form of bitters. This will give us a really nice smell and aroma as well to the edges of the drink. therefore we are just hitting it twice or 3 times. It's not a problem if we are having drops around the edge as well. As a result, we got a very smooth drink, which is slightly smoky and has citrus and vanilla flavor notes to it, which is just increases the pleasure. So please enjoy the legendary classic and also enjoy being old-fashioned in a modern way.